Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to my YouTube channel and this episode of Jim's 5am Club. I'm really proud and really chuffed to be able to announce today that today I have reached a magical milestone in my vlog channel history with 1,300 vlogs in English. Just amazing. It's a lot of work. A lot of work, and I know that I'm now well on the path at being one of Australia's most prolific vloggers of personal development material on book summaries, a feat that I'd never thought quite possible. But 1,300 vlogs in English, and I've also done about 61, I think, in Greek. So I'll just keep on pumping away, I'll just keep on pushing. And this morning the rain has stopped, so it'll give me an opportunity to knock out another vlog if possible before the rain comes back. It's been raining for what feels like months, but it's been a very wet summer and a very, very wet start to autumn. So what I'd like to do today is just go through another book summary like I normally do. I'm just surprised that there are just so many book summaries out there, free of charge, available on the internet for anybody who has the desire to learn and to continue to add to their portfolio of wisdom and skills. So today's book summary is entitled Effortless by Greg McKeown. And the author kicks off the book with a warning, I guess, to each and every one of us, and something to think about, where he says that if you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. So it's important to be proactive and to take the lead role and be the director and CEO of the things that you choose to do in your life, rather than being somebody else's lackey when it comes to your own life. So the author here talks about the importance of developing, maintaining, nurturing an effortless style in your life. I guess one thing that we've learnt over the years, and I did learn it when I went to the ballet once, that people who are leaders, people who are masters in their particular field, just seem to make things look effortless. I remember being at the ballet there, watching a performance with my wife Paula, and we're sitting next to a lady who was senior in her years, quite wise. She'd been to lots of ballets over the years. And I remember her saying and commenting on one of the principal male dancers, Stephen Heathcote, who was a tall, a very, very poised and wonderful dancer. And she said, "It just amazes me at how generous Steve Heathcote is, because he just seems to have an extra bit of time, and that generosity helps others around him just look so good." So his capability, his mastery of ballet was at a point where he had just a little bit of extra time to make the things that he did look and appear effortless. But not only did he appear effortless and great, but he also made and helped the other dancers that he was around be spectacular in their own way as well. So the author goes on to talk about the biggest myth and he debunks this myth where he tells us and reminds us that being busy doesn't necessarily mean being productive. Being busy does not equate to being productive. So it's all about being effective rather than looking like you're busy, is what the author is saying. So let's look into this a little bit deeper. And the author goes on to say that being busy doesn't necessarily mean that you're productive, as one does not depend on the other. And the big call to action from this author in this book is to be very careful that you don't waste your time, you don't over-invest your time in doing things that don't give you the best return on your investment. So what we need to do is we need to get to a point in our work, in our careers, in our lives, where we know and we understand what matters most and what generates the best return on our investment, and to focus our effort on those things and those things alone, rather than just trying to do as much as we can and be all things to all people. So what else can we pick up here from this book? Just trying to get out of the wind. It's just a bit breezy here at the moment. So the author here says, don't look busy. Don't try and just look busy to tick the box and create the right impression to those around you, because being busy isn't the be-all or end-all. What's more important is for you to be effective, because results are what count, or results are what should count, and we need to end up becoming masters and competent at what we do, because that competency will generate a significant return on your investment and allow you to master what you're doing. So once again, the author reminds us of the importance of mastery and having the mastery mindset. But I also recall years ago working in a corporation called OTC, where I had a senior manager who was a very good friend of mine. His name is Peter Kaluropoulos, and he went on to some big, significant positions throughout his career. And Peter would always say that it's important to be a master, an MR, should I say, an MR. And I said, but what does an MR mean? And he says an MR is a master of results. You need to deliver key results. You need to identify and clarify in your mind what it is that you're trying to achieve and what it is that adds significant value to your role or to your position, whatever it may be. And you need to become an MR, a master of results, where it's critical to be effective. If you're not delivering results and just appearing busy, then you're not going to last a long time in your particular job. What you're better off doing is focusing on the few things that you can do that make the biggest difference, and deliver on those and deliver results. And once you become effective, then and only then, Peter said, you can become efficient. It's not the other way around. A lot of people get an arse about and try and become efficient first, under-investing and under-delivering in results, which basically strangles them and doesn't allow them to continue in their role, and they end up being displaced by somebody else who can come in and get the job done. Because at the end of the day, according to this author, and I guess we learn this over time, success doesn't need to be difficult. It's all about execution. It's all about getting things done, but more importantly, getting the important things done the things that make the difference, as opposed to the things that tick the boxes. What else is there here? So the first formal point, so we've got to the first formal point to come out of this book, where the author says that a clear mind and a winning mentality will get you in an effortless state where everything becomes achievable. So once again, the author talks about here about getting into the right state of mind and being in a position where you can deliver continuously and consistently, deliver on your promises, and you need a clear mind, and you need to clear your mind. This is important. You need to clear your mind of assumptions and limitations. I remember working for a company called Advantra and working on some major outsourcing deals, and it never ceased to surprise me how clients in their negotiations would basically end up saying to us, just get rid of all the assumptions and price the deal as if you're taking full responsibility and accountability without any outs. You know, we want somebody who is going to be able to do the job, and if you need lots and lots of assumptions in your pricing and in your scope of works, then it basically suggests and tells us that you may not be the person for the job, because you don't know what you're getting yourself into, and you don't know what you're pricing and what you're committing to. So the author here says that we too should be ridding our minds of all the assumptions and basically allowing us to do the job without being restricted and limited by things that may distract us from getting the job done or appearing to be the best to get the job done. Because all of these assumptions and limitations are thoughts, and our thoughts determine what our subconscious thinks, and that subconscious activity determines our actions. So what we need to do is we need to clear the slate, and enter the effortless state. Sometimes it's better to do less. You know, doing less, we've heard this time and time again, doing less sometimes is more. A lot of people who don't really know what they're doing tend to overdo, overthink, overact, over talk things. But as we said, what the author is saying to us and what he's indicating is that sometimes we need to clear the slate, back off, do less in order to achieve more. Because what we learn from this book here is that our minds and the mind of a master tends to learn how to do things in bursts rather than to continually work at a high rev. So it's something that I learned in martial arts, you know, high, low, fast, slow, basically working in particular bursts of energy, doing things, countering things in a particular rhythm, as opposed to just working flat out all the time, which will basically tire you out and, you know, and give your opponent a read on what you're doing. So sometimes you just need to change it up, just like a test cricketer, a bowler, you know, won't bowl exactly the same ball every single time. You know, they get tremendous value by mixing it up, throwing in a slow ball, throwing in a full toss, just getting the batsman to do different things. Similarly, we as people, or masters in their particular fields, do things in bursts and just change it up so that they can identify and work on the opportunities that present themselves, because there are, nothing happens in a complete and a continuous rhythm. So we need to make the most of the rhythm that is made available to us. So the author here talks about the importance of always taking a minute to define the end goal of a project and then make the tasks more enjoyable. We need to define our steps. I remember reading a biography of Tiger Woods, and his father was a great influencer in his life, and his father was the sort of person who always asked Tiger, how exactly are you going to achieve it? How exactly are you going to do it? So that he would give Tiger an opportunity to clarify in his mind what he was doing, and more importantly, the critical steps to help him get to where he needed to get to and do what he needed to do. So we too need to continue to understand and to clarify in our minds what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. And as Steve Covey always talks about in his books, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, you need to begin with the end in mind. And once you have the end in mind, then you can just work back, chunk it down, build the steps to get from where you are to where you need to be based on your visualization. But to get there, we need to break it down into smaller bites and to declutter the mind, simplify tasks, actions, get started, and basically commit to those important tasks and get them done one at a time, one after the other. And the author then finishes off with the last point from this book, where he says about the importance of not being afraid to speak up and to accept all ideas initially, because nothing is impossible. A lot of the time, a lot of the people tend to put ice and to chill some ideas too early in the piece. What we need, according to this author here, is the ability to voice all opinions and to consider all the options, because you never know which door is going to open and which opportunity is going to lead you to a different path and to a different set of circumstances and opportunities. So don't be afraid to speak up bad ideas, as lots of different ideas, regardless of how silly it may seem, can lead to some successful processes and successful outcomes. So be open to ideas that help you create options. It's important to be an option thinker, because not every solution, not every option is going to work. So the more options we have, the more plan Bs, Cs, Ds, Es and Fs that we have, then the better off we're going to be when we hit those potholes in the road. So we need to build on attempts and to understand that failures are a stepping stone to success, and not to worry about the potholes, not to worry about the storms, not to worry about any of the challenges that come our way, because we will be able to figure it out. As Marie Forleo says in her book, everything is figure-outable. So we need to be able to learn and to accept that we can leverage our mistakes, learn from the past, and to understand that God always wraps his gifts in problems. And the more problems that you take on, the more problems that you solve, the more you're going to learn, the more skills you're going to accumulate, which are going to make you match fit, so that you too can become a master in many areas so that you can have extra time to think about something or extra time to deliver something. Just like Steve Heathcote had extra time to enable him to be generous with his fellow workers and his fellow dancers. We too, through training, through purposeful training, can build the mastery to enable us to have that extra nanosecond of decision time to decide on what to do, subconsciously of course, to put us into a position of excellence. So being a problem solver is important because it will lead us to greater outcomes, to greater incomes, and to adding greater value. And the author here says it's important to understand that we need to manage our energy levels, manage the process, manage our gait, so that we leave something for the sprint home. It's no good, no use working hard all the time. You need to slow down, according to this author, in order to master things. Because if you're working flat strap all the time, then you're basically tiring yourself out, and you'll have nothing in the tank for the sprint home. I remember years ago when I was a young punter, I'd go to Randwick, and I always remember that at Randwick, the straight, which was over 400 metres long, had a bit of a rise in it as well. So it was critical that the horses were managed along the way, so they had something for the sprint home, especially in that uphill sprint, which was really, really difficult. So if you went hard too early, then once you hit that rise, once you hit the home run or home turn, then it was going to be impossible to kick back in the straight and to fight off any other horses that were heading you in the straight. So there you go. Thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to come into your lives with Jim's 5am Club. As I say, today is the 1300 episode. I'm probably at about 4 million words now. I just can't believe it. If I go to YouTube and put all of my vlogs to text, it's an amazing achievement in terms of volume of words. And as I say, 1300 vlogs is no small feat. It's a significant contribution, and thanks to the technology, this digitization, the work that I've done will be held in perpetuity. I'll be able to pass it on to my children, my grandchildren, and to anybody else who can use this OPE, this other people's experience. Because as we know, if we leave it up to our own experiences, at best we will only get a slither of reality in life. But once we incorporate other people's learnings, other people's experiences, we're able to match our OPE, our slithers of reality, with everybody else's slithers of reality, and get a more balanced, broader picture, view of the world. So once again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to spend some time to go on a walk and talk, for me to highlight and showcase the beauty of this city of Sydney throughout the year, throughout COVID, during 2020, 2021, and now we're heading into 2022. It's been a great opportunity, and as I say, I never thought that I would ever be in a position to be able to proudly say that I am now one of the most prolific vloggers in the world on book summaries and personal development material. And as I said, it's a free service available to everybody. So please spread the word. Tell people about Jim's 5am Club, the free vlog channel, which has a significant investment of material that is available to each and every person to use to their heart's content. So take care, everybody. Yassas, happy Monday. And to my Greek Orthodox friends, Kali Sarakoste. Today is Clean Monday, Kathari Deftera, a strict fast and an opportunity for all of us to manage, to consider, and to rid ourselves of the passions and to become better people who are basically living God's purpose, God's purpose for us, serving God and serving each other. Yassas, take care, and with great love, yassas, and bye for now. Cheerio. How beautiful is it?